I'm on a mission, and this mission is to get on every single daily leaderboard #1. And to complete this mission, I'm going to try to get #1 on the Hive Hub Field leaderboard. Here it is, the Hive Hub Field leaderboard. It seems to be pretty easy. I want to see how much pollen I can get. So this is it now. I have about 3 hours and 50 minutes to actually lock in until the day starts, and I have a couple of strategies on how I'm going to do this. Let me put this into perspective on how hard this will actually be. This is my all-time hub field pollen. It's 1.7 billion. In order to get #1, I'm going to need at least 15 billion, and there's still 4 hours left, so I'm going to need a lot of pollen. I've not done this empty-handed. I have a couple of strategies I'm going to use. The first step is preparations, where we have to focus on bees, bee quips, sticker stack, and other buffs that we can use. So this is my list for Hive Hub with all the stuff I'm going to do. The first thing I'm going to do is actually just fix up my hive by adding all of these bees. The Hive Hub has a function where you can't actually use your bees, only your tools, which is why we're going to have to fix up a fair few things. Bees I've decided to go for are going to basic bee for 1.25 pollen, which I already have, as well as cool bee for 1.1 times blue pollen. Also going to add looker bee for 25% crit power. I'm going to have commando for 3% critical chance. I'm also going to have shock bee for 1.1 times white field pollen. Carpenter bee, which is most important, with a 1.25 tool pollen bonus. I'm also going to have precise bee for super crit chance, which is good. Bear bee, obviously it's 10% pollen. It's a goated thing. I'm also going to add rad bee for red pollen, just because there's red fields and I might be able to get an extra 100 million out of it. Also going to add hasty bee to this, just because I'm going to be running around, so having an extra bit of haste may actually be good. Okay, and that is our final bee we need, the precise bee. So now that the hive's done, let's move on to bee quips. Now for bee quips, what I reckon we're going to need are all of these ones here. So basically all I need is anything that gives me pollen, critical chance, or critical power, because your critical chance and power actually affects your tool, which is why I need those. However, anything with pollen should be our first start. So the only things I managed to get was a kazoo with 3% critical power, 2 sweatbands, both with blue and white pollen as a hive bonus, 3 beesmas tops with 6 critical power, and a chap lip balm that's actually not useful at all. So I only managed to get like 6 things, which is not very much. However, it is still better than 0. Now my sticker stack is already 260, so I'm just going to say all the stickers I need to get. These are the stickers that give you pollen from tools. It gets 50%, which is insane. I have all of these, so I don't actually have to worry. I've managed to collect them all, which is good. That means I don't have to waste time trying to get these. So we can actually tick off the stick stack. It's going to cost a lot though to keep it active during the 24 hours. So that's going to be sad. Now we can move on to final things such as badges and amulets, starting with the moon amulet. Mine currently has white pollen and normal pollen. So what I want to do is try to get tool pollen. However, it is very hard. 14. That is not very good. Pollen from tools, it can go up to 20%. However, it's only a 14% chance that you actually get it. So what I am going to do is I'm going to make a bunch of moon charms, like 1,000 billion, and hopefully I can then actually get some good amulet. Okay, hopefully 1,500 moon charms is enough. That's 15 attempts, so theoretically I should get hive and 14 tool pollen. Another thing that also gives tool pollen is the stump badge grandmaster. Luckily I already have that done, so that's another 25% tool pollen, which is very nice. Another thing is the supreme shell amulet from stump snail, which can give up to 20 tool pollen. I have 18, which is the same as moon actually. Now it's time to talk about all the stuff I'm going to need. Pretty much anything in my hotbar. Glue gives 1.25 tool pollen for 10 minutes, on top of extracts as well as jelly beans, coconuts, gumdrops, and glitter. It's going to be very good. So there's only 4.5 minutes before the day resets. Last day's top leaderboard was 17.7 billion, which is quite a lot. So let me give a quick rundown on my plan. Right now I have a tide blessing, which gives 1.175 times blue pollen and tool pollen. I only have it for 4 hours though, which means I'm going to use all of my items within this first 4 hours before I lose it all. After that, there's no real point in actually having it. I need to keep my nectars up because they also give blue pollen as well. Some of them give red pollen, which I don't particularly care about. It's refreshing, I just don't care. So it's time to head into the Hive Hub. Best things that are going to help me for my boost is everything in my hotbar, as well as petals. Petals are insane. They give 1.25 white pollen, blue pollen, and all the other pollen, except mythical bee pollen, which is completely useless because I can't use bees here. Also, there's so many other people using gumdrops and gummy boots, which should help a bunch. And 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, it is start to lock in. Let's also go ahead and activate the sticker stack. That is so satisfying. I love doing that. The most important things in the Hive Hub is going to be a coconut combo, as you can get up to like 60 times blue pollen, which is insane. And there's a lot of people. There's 36 people in the Hive Hub, making it pretty easy to actually get these combos consistently. Now, something else I want to talk about is the Tide Power. Unfortunately, you can't actually get it in the Hive Hub, as you need to collect bubbles. And even though you can collect bubbles, like here I'm collecting bubbles from other people's frogs or other people's bubble wand, it doesn't actually work because it's just straight up disabled in the Hive Hub. It would be insane, as you can get up to like 1.5 times tool swing or like higher, but unfortunately just can't get it. So it's been a few hours, and however I have to go to bed because it's late, and I need to set up a macro or a way to still collect honey. Now I could do what this guy's doing and AFKing, so I'm going to try that. However, first we have to figure out the optimal way to. But yeah, so this is the Hive Hub field. You can see all flowers. The Hive Hub is perfectly equal. It has 33% of each color. That's 58 normal, 128, so on. So what we need to do is figure out where most of the blue flowers are. And we are using the type popper, which looks like this. So we need to find a pattern that mostly looks like this, or at least something like that. Now we can actually already cut out the corners just because there's less flowers there. So all of these pretty much are useless. And now to look for flowers, there's a really good spot right here with a lot of it. There's also here, as well as here has a bit. So I think that's going to be our best way to go. So if we set up our macro here, so if we AFK, that is about here with these few flowers here, we get about 12,000. However, it's actually bad because the flowers despawn too fast. I hit them and then I'm hitting at nothing. So I've got him up with a second idea. And this is going to be me using Tiny Task, which is a very good macro, to actually just run like this. This way I can get a bunch of flowers. I think running across here is going to be the best. I'll run in this back line here, hitting all of these, and then my waves can go this way. So what I can do is I can run here, collect flowers without having to dig at the empty spaces, and I also get my own goo trail, which is good for the whatever goo multiplier I have. So I think this is better than just AFKing. I'm just going to keep it simple, but just staying on one line. I might actually go up. I'll run it on 2 lines. Before I go to bed, I want to check the leaderboard one time to see how much I can make through macroing. And right now we are 3rd place with 2.03 billion, and 1st place has 5 billion. That's a lot. I'm also going to set up my HB hotbar. I'm going to use glue and extracts every 10 minutes, as well as glitter. And they're the only ones I'm going to use because there's no real point using the other stuff, I don't think. Chocolate drink's too expensive, and that's pretty much it. And then let's start the macro, and I will catch all of you in a couple of hours. So we'll see when I wake up.
A few moments later.
So I've just woken up and I've got some very bad news. If we go ahead and check the leaderboard, I'm 9th, and 1st place has 17 billion. That is insane. There's no way I'm catching up to that. So I think it's done for. I think this challenge fails. Wait a second. What's this? Wait, how do I have Tide Power in my Hive Hub? However, you can't collect bubbles and get the Tide Power. That's not how it works. We tested that. So then how do I have it? Well, let's do some digging. I present you with this. If we go back 10 seconds, you can see we don't have the Tide Popper. But I realized that if I have a pop star, even with 0, then I actually still get the bubbles from it. I don't think this was intended, but if we look at this, when it pops, you can see I now have a Tide Blessing from these bubbles. Meaning it is actually possible to get a Tide Power Blessing inside of the Hive Hub. which could actually save us. However, there is a tiny problem with this, and that is if I leave and come back to activate my sticker stack, I'm gonna lose my tide power. Meaning in order to keep my tide power, I'm gonna sacrifice my sticker stack. However, with how high these numbers are, I generally don't think there's any other way to achieve this. I'm going to test a few things, like going into the Hive Hub with a high actual bubble bloat, because maybe that will work. However, I think we have a new shot at achieving this. In order to activate the pop star, it's every 10th boost token, which is weird. I have no idea how I got that boost token, but it seems cool. Okay, so we have a 30 pop star. If we go into the Hive Hub, does this work? We have to be fast. We have a pop star, so now if I go into the Hive Hub, do I keep it? No, you do not keep the pop star when you enter the Hive Hub. You also can't enter the Hive Hub with a tide power. You lose it. This also goes for pretty much every buff, like Puffshrooms, Mondo, Robo Party, and everything else, which is why I'm not bothering with those, because when you join the Hive Hub or a different server, you lose them all. After AFKing for a full day, I managed to get 47 Tide Popper, which means if I want to get to 450 to then actually lock in, it's going to take 6 days. I'm not going to be wasting 6 days of Beesmas trying to get a Tide Popper. And I don't even think with a high Tide Power Blessing, I'll even be able to win. I think I'm going to have to go red or white. I'm going to try, but there's no way I'm wasting my Beesmas on that. So I'm going to give it like until Beesmas ends to come back and give it a second try. However, it was actually at this time when I stumbled across this video, how I collected 500 million goo in a Hive Hub. That's not the important part. The important part is somewhere around here when he actually gets an insane Tide Blessing. And he does this by popping his own box of frogs. We tried box of frogs from other players. However, it might be possible to get a high balloon blessing with box of frogs from ourselves. The only problem was that this video is over a year old, so I don't actually know if this still works. However, it is worth a try. Yeah, so we're going to figure out if I can use a box of frogs like that video, and can I get a Tide Blessing up. First off, I have to find my box of frogs, use it, and does it work? Oh my god, it works. Oh my god, it works. Tide Power 5. It works. It works. We actually have a way to do this. Wait, what? Oh my days. Oh my god, it works, it works. Okay, so it has to be your own box of frogs. That's how you get it to work. And this is actually insane. And I'm going to quickly get all of these pop bubbles. Oh yeah, so after one box of frogs, I managed to get 210, which is actually insane. If I use another one, I can get more. The reason this is so good, and let me explain. I can actually go back to the normal game, activate my sticker stack, and then come back. That means I will be able to have not only an insane Tide Blessing, but also the sticker stack activated. And so for the next 24 hours, I would use a bunch of box of frogs as well as other buffs like super smoothies and make sure I hit my coconut combos. I would also go into the main game every so often to do things such as the sticker stack or killing my coconut crab, which can help me refresh my coconuts and other supplies. But I did this for pretty much the entire 24 hours. There's quite literally only one thing with this. I only have about one attempt. The sticker stack lasts 1 hour exactly, and I only have 18 box of frogs, meaning I could only actually lock in for about 18 hours. And if I only get second place, I generally don't think I will ever be able to do this again. So we have to make sure we do our best. I generally have no idea if this is good to trade. 6 star 2 1 and then a bunch of things. And I'm just gonna accept 4 8 12 16 20 23 20. I think he scammed me out of a few. I honestly have no idea if that was a good trade. I think I might have messed up, but I did get super crit power. Okay, so it is over. The final question. How much did I make? Well, if we go ahead to leaderboard, scroll all the way down. Look it. We hit. Come on, load. 22.8 billion. That is more than double second place. This is the highest I've seen ever. 22 billion is insane. There's only a minute left. I doubt I'd be able to get too much more. However, that is a clear, easy first place. Another dub for me. I also ended up using about like 25 glitter, 100 glue, 200 blue extracts, as well as just over 10 super smoothies. I think it's 13 I ended up using, which is a lot, way too much. I don't know why I did this. I did not have to go this overboard, however I did. Same with my jelly beans, I ended up using 81 of those or whatever. And my box of frogs, I ended up using 15, so I'm out of those for about the next 7 years because you can't get them. Anyways, that is all for this video. If you did enjoy it, please go ahead, like, subscribe, join the Discord to help me with more challenging videos in the future, like doing 100,000 million sprouts or trying to get like on the blue hive leaderboards or something. If you did like this, please go ahead and join the Discord to help me with challenges in the future on getting daily #1. On top of that, check out my other videos. Oh, hey, look, I actually just got a Hubfield sticker. W. Yeah, I did it. Oh, yeah, but please go ahead, check out all of my other videos, and I shall catch you all in the Discord, maybe. Bye-bye.